Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaura Vani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vastyatya Desha Dharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Tweet birds Vrindavan. Okay. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare. Where's the dramatist? Rama Hare Rama Hare Haribol, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. No, I will start with that drum. Regular beat, if you don't mind. Will it be as simple as possible? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnu Pai Paramahamsa Pariparaja Suttara Suttara His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnu Pai Paramahamsa Pariparaja Suttara Suttara His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Swami Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Namacharya Shalavidas Ki Parimusagossi Chaitanya Prabhu Kirtan Visya Veda Gada Bhajana Shri Gaura Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Krishna Govinda Ki Sri Vrindavan Ki Radhati Purport Ki Gamma Ki Yamamari Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Hari Naam Sankirtan Ki Hari Hat Mridanga Ki Sama Veda Bhakta Priti Ki. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Glories to Shri Shri Gauranga. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishnaya Buddhaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charine Nirvisesa Sunyamani. One more time. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishnaya Buddhaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charine Nirvisesa. One more time for safety. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishnaya Buddhaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charine Nirvisesa Sunyamani. Hari 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 Bol. Ambarish Prabhu? Ambarish? Can you hear us? Are we gotten connected?
Yep, they can hear you.
It's not coming.
I can hear him.
Can you hear us?
He can hear you.
He can hear me. Okay. I can't hear him. I'm going to scream it out. Was that a scream?
No, that was me.
What was that? Well, I assume everything's going okay. All right.
Where's the pink slip? Pink paper.
Hare Krishna,
Very good.
dear devotees. I would like to introduce His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. So just a brief. A shy Canadian farm boy turned monk, John Peace, now Bhaktimarga Swami, stepped his way into the moniker of the walking monk,
Very good.
one stride at a time after finding a path forced by saintly Indian scholar and spiritualist, the founder and preceptor of ISKCON, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The walking monk joyfully shares the wisdom of India's ancient and inspiring text worldwide through poetry, unbeat musical mantra, we just experienced, meditation and dance, his vibrant and original live community, theater production, and of course, marathon walking. These marathons have been covered in 2 Canadian film documentaries and numerous international media outlets. He has personally detailed this walking adventure in his book, The Saffron Path, the Tracking the Globe with Walking Monk. Just to let you know, give a little $20 or more donation and get Maharaj sign your copy. Endorse.
That's
But,
good.
okay, just the last part, Maharaj. Bhaktimarga Swami is based in Toronto, Canada. Why not tending to the more administrative side of his leadership duties? He eagerly sets the rhythm of his feet far and near, by tree and by tower, to honor the practice of history's greatest pilgrims. He details his experiences promoting connection to nature, to each other, and to the divine in his daily blog and on his Instagram page. It's called www.thewalkingmonk.net. His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much for that nice introduction. Okay, Pran, Govinda, thank you, and all the members of the Alachua community here. I'd like to thank Kirtan, and I'm not sure the rest of the family, but thank you for hosting us today. And your name is?
Son.
Son. Your name is?
Mayur.
Mayur? Mayur. Jai Hari Om. We have with us today, there's a living room full of devotees. We also have a whole bunch of, seekers of the truth. Let's say quite a bit north of here, up in a place called Nova Scotia, and Halifax to be particular. Perhaps there's some other takers. Hiran, how are you? Congratulations for the great job done today. The devotees are just in the process of securing a beautiful building over there, ready to go as a temple. Hopefully everything goes well from the legal side. Thank you, Hare Krishna. It's just another little feather in Prabhupada's cap, having another place where people can come sing and dance and have prasadam. Haribol. Let's celebrate each other's presence, okay? Those of us here in Alachua, Florida, and those of us in Nova Scotia. And if there's anybody in this room that's somewhere in the middle, zonally, let's hear it for everyone. Okay, so today is a little different. Just to promote the book a little bit on poems, there's a second one coming. But here we go, Gita Wisdom. Once you were in the body of a very small child, then you grew up to become a little wild. Your body as a youth showed all this passion when people carry on in a certain kind of fashion. And then you took the body of a man, energy went to responsibility as you plan. Then before long your body gets old and you exit to enter another life of gold. The body will perish, but you will not. What I'll tell you is very good food for thought. The soul is immortal, it will persist. It cannot be injured by sword or by fist. By fluid or water, it cannot be drowned. By fire, not burned like ashes to the ground. By wind and air, it cannot be dried. No method of destruction would work if you tried. So Arjuna, you really should not lament for the body that lived in time well spent. You start to focus as a warrior would do, or else there will be ridicule towards your clan and you. The Kauravas are watching every move you make. It's a matter of duty you are obliged to take. If you hesitate when something needs to be done, you receive a reaction that is no fun. Yes. Action and subsequent reaction is called karma. When we act as expected, it's called dharma. So do your dharma, avoid the karma. Do your dharma, avoid the karma. The world with all its changes will never come to an end. I'm telling you all of this because you are my friend. Haribol. Okay, so our host over there up north is Ambarish. Do you want to identify yourself? Identify yourself. Put up your hand so people know.
The sound?
Yeah, your sound is not that good. That's probably our fault on this side. Okay, everyone else is okay? You can hear us? Si, señores, señorita? Yes? Okay. Okay, I'm assuming that. Okay, every time when we get together, this is a bi-weekly program. Okay, great. Stop the mumbling. We're looking at chapter 3, correct? Karma Yoga, and it's text 40. I'm going to read the Sanskrit to the verse. I'll do the English translation. And we usually get some volunteers to read the purport. We have enough material here for about 4 people. How about 2 people from over there and 2 people from over here? Anybody have a copy of the Gita in their hand? If not, you can get it. Volunteers from over there? Ambarish, who do you have? Oh boy, it's jumpy. Why is it like that? I need to have it tested before. Who is it over there, please? Or we're not going to hear them, if that's the way it's going to be.
Well, I don't know if it's just his or what, but it sounds.
Okay,
Well, let's
we're
hope
probably,
try.
we may have to just surrender to working with people here near the microphone. Okay, you're one. You're one, you're 2. 2 Matajis. Radha. Okay, can you jump over here fast when time comes, and you. Is that okay?
They made message, they said Druvika and Aditya.
Aditya, but we won't be able to hear them.
Well, we can try it first.
We can try it
I feel
out.
like it's his mic.
Okay, let's give them a chance over there, our wonderful northern people up north. The people are supposed to be part of the 51st state, you know, or the 11th province. Okay, all right. So here we go. Indriyani mano buddhir asya dishtanam uchate ethari vimuyat isha kyanam avritya dehinam. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Hare Krishna. Okay? Readers, let's try somebody over there, okay? And when I say thank you, that means cut it off and the next person reads. Okay? So everyone else will just be very attentive, okay? Great. Do we need to squeeze in a little bit more? You're okay?
Yeah.
You're just outside the door practically.
No one. Mahajan.
Okay. Okay, go right to it.
Try.
Let's go. Give you 5 seconds to make it work. It's not working, right? Ambarish, it's not working, so we're going to have to go with plan B. We're very sorry about that. Prabhu, here you go. Can you come to the mic?
Can you hold the microphone so we can...
The enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of the conditioned soul, and therefore Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places, so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. Mind is the center of all the activities of the senses, and thus, when we hear about sense objects, the mind generally becomes a reservoir of all ideas of sense gratification.
Thank you. Next.
and as a result, the mind and the senses become the repositories of lust. Next, the intelligence department becomes the capital of such lustful propensities. Intelligence is the immediate next door neighbor of the spirit soul. Lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter, and thus with the mind and the senses. The spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying the material senses and mistakes this as true happiness.
Thank you. Next.
This false identification of the spirit soul is very nicely explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:84-13. Yasyatma buddhi gunape hridatuke swadi kalatarvishu baumat vichadi yat tirtha buddhi sarvena karchi janeshva vidyeshu sareva gokara. A human being who identifies his body made of three elements with his self, who considers byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of birth worshipable, and who goes to the place of pilgrimage simply to take a bath, rather than meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is to be considered like an ass or a cow.
Thank you. And then we'll get the fifth person just to read the verse again. Okay.
The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him.
Thank you, everyone. Everyone's favorite topic, lust. Hare Krishna. All right, it comes at the early stages of the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. And one thing that you might want to keep in mind, when you are in lust, you are lost. Or at least you're blind, at least for a little while. But Prabhupada always made distinctions between what is lust and what is love. 4 letters, and they're quite different from each other. But they have a certain connotation about closeness, intimacy, and so on like that. Ultimately, we're to get close to Krishna. That's the thing. But while we're in this physical world, we identify with closeness in other ways. For instance, we have this machinery, and it's made up of sense organs, and those organs love to be in contact with sense objects. And a lot of people mistake that for being the ultimate intimacy. So Krishna's here to educate Arjuna and all of anybody who's like Arjuna. After all, we are all like Arjuna, in the sense that he was a little bit lost, in the sense that he went through a nervous breakdown. He went through depression, And Krishna, who's very caring, tries to pull him out of those doldrums and gets him to come to a point where, well, you don't have to be so downtrodden, And generally we do get a little bit depressed when we identify with the body, but when we identify with the spirit, the Atma, which is superior to the dull senses, the Indriya, the mind, which is in Sanskrit mana, and then the intelligence, buddhi. When we get beyond that, then it's possible to experience real happiness. And then there's also a possibility to get out of our lostness. Okay? One of the nicest things about being lost is you get a chance to be found. Does anybody know the song, Amazing Grace? How sweet the sound. How does it go? Lyrics. To save a wretch like me, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Amazing grace, but now I can see. Thank you very much, Jai. So, lust is affiliated with blindness, oftentimes. Maybe some of you folks have been in love before, you know what I mean? And you're smitten with it, and your friends don't really get it. Him or her, are you sure? But this is the nature of Kamadev, or Cupid strikes and puts us into a blind condition, like it's like we're blindfolded and we don't really get it. But there's some kind of energy there that really bamboozles us, the soul, and the whole thing about love that really people sort of recall about the love concept. It's in the romance period, and the romance period has a short shelf life. It doesn't last very long. It's when two people start to really get into the service of each other that real love kicks in, and lust goes is put behind us. So Prabhupada did that. He would help to draw lines of distinction between lust and real love. Love is when it's connected with the divine, with Krishna. Love is real like gold, and lust is something else. Copper, if not, it'll be iron, something like that, right? By the way, I kind of like iron. I like iron bridges. They got this rusty red too. They last a long time. Has anybody ever walked over a rustic wrought iron bridge? It's a good feeling, isn't it? Just one person? Does anybody walk around here? Bridges? Okay. Bridges are also fun to walk over. Bridges connect, from one side of the river to the other side of the river. And if we want to make a connection with Krishna, then it means that we have to work in such a way that we take these bridges, and the bridge is called Bhakti, the Bhakti bridge. That's pretty clear in the latter parts of the Bhagavad Gita itself. Bhaktyamam avijanati yavanyash chashmi tattvataha. Just to give you an example, Krishna's talking about it's through bhakti that I can be known, understood, and so on like that. And that's what we want to really cultivate and get that right. So most of the pop culture, whether it's Bollywood or Hollywood, or it's centered around this conjugal thing, and it's very mesmerizing, it's very captivating, and it's very illusory at the same time. When I did my walk across the U.S., I was in Pennsylvania. Anybody from Pennsylvania here? Anybody? Okay. I turned a corner in like a sort of very conservative countryside neighborhood in Pennsylvania, and out came this dog. It pushed its way through the screen door. Dogs came right after me, and it was one of the Rottweiler? Yeah, Rottweiler, okay. And then the owner happened to come out after the dog, and the dog was pretty ferocious, barking. Clearly, I was the target, and coming right at me. And I was just hoping my dhoti would stay in one piece. It wouldn't be torn up. This dog was vicious. And the name of the dog was Maya. And so the owner said, "Maya, stop it! Stop it, Maya!" And so she backed off, and then she lunged forward again and tried again, But the owner was very resolute, and he said again, "Maya, stop it, Maya!" And I asked the owner, said, "Do you know the meaning of the word Maya?" "No, I don't." "Well, it means illusion." "Well, she's an illusion, all right. Maya, stop it!" So dogs that come after you with a mean bite, that's Maya, it's Maya. But if you're, you can turn things around. You can turn even a dog around, make that dog your friend, somehow or other. I learned that the hard way. If you go like this to a dog, they say, "Oh, something to eat." If you go like this, then I get. How about the monkeys in Vrindavan? Have you ever tried, like say negotiating with them somehow? There's this versus this, and so it's all a matter of knowing how to deal with this material energy, how to keep it at bay, how to keep it, let's say, controlled. And that's what we want to do. Krishna consciousness is a lot about control. And Krishna is not against this love factor. He says, "I am Kama. which is not contrary to Dharma. So that should be analyzed a little bit as well. It just means regulation, control. It means don't just every time there's a little agitation, you jump at it. It means exercise control, and then that shows real maturity, and it shows that you're getting what Krishna is saying. So Krishna is not against sense gratification. He's not against lasagna. He's just, because the lasagna is offered with love to the Lord, right? And whatever else made that, the sandwiches, which were pretty nice as well. We're the sandwich makers today, by the way. Are you taking the credit? Oh, thank you. Haribol, Mr. Sandwich Man. Beautiful. Done with love and devotion, so we can, simply appreciate it. Through the channel of love, everything can be really nice and, almost perfect. So with these classes that we do regularly, we do like to hear from devotees. It's not that I'm just here to speak to you all, but we want to be a little bit interactive. And so that's what it's kind of all about. We usually cover one verse per session. And I'm just going to get to, we can get started. So one more thing I'd like to say. You have to recognize the enemy, And Arjun clearly asks the question, what is the enemy of everyone? And this is real sad news for most people. It's called lust. Really? Yeah? Is it really that? Yes, it's really that. But when controlled, then we can look at things favorably. Now, if the enemy is attacking, we should know what strategic points they're coming at. Where do you think that love attacks? Well, there's one place that I don't think we need to mention here. But there are various locations, strategic points, where lust will take a strike from. Anywhere else? Yes? Ego? Sure. Mm-hmm. Yes. Eyes? Yes. Sure. Definitely through the senses. What else? Pride, yes. Well, the answer is in the shloka, isn't it? You have devotees up there in Halifax. Do you see the verse before you? Okay, maybe you don't. All right. Okay, the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. So if you know where the enemy is hiding, ready to do an ambush or something like that, you are at an advantage, right? If you have no scope for understanding where the enemy lies, then you are very much at a disadvantage. So let's understand how the enemy works and how the enemy thinks. We are definitely the victim, and we don't like to be the victim. We want to be the victor. Right? That's where we'd rather be, in that particular place. So look at it from that point of view. There is a battle, and I like the way Satyaraj describes, the tilak. Do you know who Satyaraj is? One of our best authors, Stephen Rosen. He describes what tilak is all about. It's war paint. And what were we declaring war against? Maya. Okay. And then it becomes very clear what it is. I would say that's one explanation if you have a friend that comes to you and says, well, what's this? And you could be light about it. Oh, I was just sitting under a tree and something happened. Okay. Or you could explain this is sacred earth from sacred places in India, and we anoint our body, on the forehead, to indicate that this body is the temple of the soul. And then they usually like that explanation. If you're talking to a warrior type person, you might use that other explanation, that purport. Okay, I'm declaring war. Said, well, where's the enemy? It's all around. Oh yeah, I gotcha. It's me and everyone else. So, You know, it is a kind of a warrior mindset that we have to establish, and Arjuna was a warrior as much as he was a friend of Krishna. And so let's take up that spirit sometime, you know. Anybody wants to be a little bit of a fighter, opportunities right there for you at 24/7 shifts. You're on guard, or at least we should be on guard, because Maya comes in many different shapes and forms, and we should just be ready, tilak or no tilak. Just be ready. You know, at an event like this, most of you got tilak on. Yeah, pretty good. We're rating pretty good here. Not bad. I'm looking at everyone. It's just like almost everybody. Yeah, that's great. But if you don't have the externals, at least internally, cultivate the the warrior-like spirit within. I'm ready to put up a fight, and it's going to be a good fight. And because I know I have to win. People are depending on me after all. You know, this is the Arjuna mindset. People are depending on me. He forgot that initially. He forgot that people are behind him. Said, we need you now. And he was being a little bit squeamish. He was thinking, let me just be a hippie, try out being a hippie. I'll live off the grid. I'll go in the bush. I'll take up the begging profession, etc., etc. I'll live off the land, that kind of thing. You know, that would have been very cowardly stance. And Krishna warned Arjuna that would not work out. If you're interested in incurring sin, that's what you do. But if you're interested in following prescribed duties and performing piety, punya, whatever good works, and also on top of it what Krishna wants, then certainly you have a better chance to, you know, be a great conqueror. How many people want to be conquerors?
Out of my mind.
Yes, of course. How many people want to be conquered? How many people want to be conquered?
By who?
Okay, well, just in general. Okay, if we want to be conquered by Krishna's, you know, sweetness, then that's fine. Okay, I think we get it. Okay, so we'll go for any questions or comments at this point. And we do have Pran Govinda who has a question. Anybody else, line yourselves up there. Up there above the mantelpiece, just want to let you know that all the devotees from Halifax, you're on top of a fireplace. You may not see it, but we're seeing it. Fortunately, there's no fire there. Should be a fire because it's bloody cold up here and down here in Florida right now. All right, so good. You want a question? Do you want to go for it?
In the Purport, Prabhupada says, intelligent is the immediate next door neighbor of the soul. What does that means? Because intelligent, one of the three places where the enemy is. So how it's relate to that? Why did Prabhupada say immediate neighborhood of the soul? What does that mean, neighborhood, like next door?
Yes, could be, yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, neighbors can be very intelligent people. You just don't know who's next door. And I'm talking about the kind that you communicate with, that'll do favors for you. It's not the kind that's got the binoculars out and looking to see, what are they doing next? That kind. I think we need to try to understand that next to the soul, which is the purest form of our being, is the intelligence. And the intelligence is considered to be superlative to the mind. The mind is superlative to the senses. So, you know, I would say the senses are most distant from the Atma, and the mind also. And when we get to the intelligence, because that's the hierarchy, the higher sense, body, senses, mind, intelligence, the self, and then super self, Paramatma. So on one side you've got one next door neighbor is the Paramatma, and the other next door neighbor is the intelligence. It's good to purify your intelligence through the training of Krishna consciousness. We also meet intelligent people, but their intelligence is not bathed through a process of purification. So then they become more harmful. Have you ever met people who are very intelligent? At the same time, they're very harmful. That's because they're lacking training. I think of the time when we read about Prabhupada's early days in 26 2nd Avenue in New York, and the Bhagavad Gita meetings were on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And you know, the neighborhood kids would come rap on the front door, on the window, you know, make all kinds of noises. And Prabhupada's remark was, you know, while the class was going on, he's interrupting, they're not trained. Prabhupada was kind of feeling sad, they're just not trained, you know. And by the way, who likes trains? How many people like trains? Anybody gone to India and hopped on one of those things before? It's a real circus, isn't it? I like the analogy that Prabhupada gives of the train, you know, because there's the engine, there's the caboose, and there's all the wagons in between, and the first thing that pulls it is the guru. The guru pulls or pushes you, you know, through training. So if you have that good, you know, I love the program they have at Krishna House. It's a training program, you know, and there's a guru or gurus, mentors. Anybody there from that? You're from there? Okay, great, because you're the rep, the spokesperson for all of them. Okay, yeah. So training, the train moves things. It gets things, cargo. It goes from one distant place to the next, and usually does a nice job. I love the sound of a train. To me, it's like a harmonium. Has anybody ever tried walking on train tracks? How did you find it? It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the train coming.
Oh, see the train coming from afar. I'd get off too.
Because when I used to leave, I used to have a regular track.
Okay. There was a good feeling you had walking on the railroad track. I'll explain where I'm going to in a minute with this train idea. How many people have been on the train tracks and find it a little uncomfortable? Yes. Why is it discomforting?
Sometimes there's like you have random nuts and bolts just like poking at you.
Oh, poking at you. Okay, great. Anything else about the train tracks? It doesn't matter where in the world you are with train tracks. It's a little bit clumsy. It really is.
It's not a place you want to be.
Yes, because of the oncoming traffic.
Yeah, inattentiveness.
Yeah, and especially in India where the latrines, there's just a hole and, you know. Okay, what else? No, I'm really testing you to see if you've been on a train track before. You know what I'm talking about. There's challenges to walking on a railroad track.
It's actually a little slant. Little slant. It's not
On a slant, okay.
Little 90.
I never thought about that. Okay, but thanks. Anybody else?
The pacing can be like not your stride.
Yeah, that's right. It's never your stride. That's right. The ties on the road. It's not your gait. You know, it's too tight. You know.
Mm.
And there's another thing about the stones are usually quite sharp, and they're big. They're like almost like boulders. Oftentimes. Another thing I've found very uncomfortable of being on train tracks is that over decades oil has spilt. And it's, you know, accumulated, you know, onto the tracks, onto the steel or the metal rails and so on like that. It really stinks, you know. After 1 hour you could pass out. So we're not supposed to be on those tracks. It's not made for human, pedestrians. It's really meant for a train, and we're supposed to be in the train, and we're supposed to be moving on the train. We are supposed to be taking some training. And that training comes from the guru or advanced devotees and so on. If you get Krishna conscious training, you're really a blessed person. How many people have had sort of like formal training, lived in a temple for a little bit? Anybody had that experience? Yeah? Yeah? Yes? Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, then more popular might be, how many people would like to have that kind of experience? Living in the temple and, being a monk for a week or a nun, or if you like for a month or something like that. How many people would like that? Well, the opportunity is available. We have 3 rooms now.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to move in.
I'm doing a big promotion for the program here. All right. But training is going to make a big difference. First of all, let's understand the human form of life is not for what you usually think it is. It's not just as I'm just going to have a good time. It's going to be a party every day. No, it's not. You better part with that idea. It's a little different. It's really a time for discipline. Brahmacharjina, Shamina cha, Damina cha. It's really meant for austerity. Human life is for discipline. If people can get that in the beginning, they're going to be successful, I would say. They're going to be successful. Okay, we got another question here by Chaitanya Charan. Go ahead. Can you say it loud?
I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, you forgot what I was going to say.
Pran Govinda says the reason for life is to awaken your dormant Krishna consciousness.
Right. Good phrase. Something to get out there. Purpose of human life is to awaken your dormant God consciousness. Krishna, love for Krishna, the real love is with God, and it's lying dormant. Everybody knows what dormancy is, right? It's sleeping. And how many people sleep? Okay. I ask because some people have a hard time with it. And generally, it doesn't matter if you're in a wakeful condition, you can still be sleeping. I can remember, I was, in Ontario, we went through grade 13 in high school. It was just taking algebra and calculus. And I was like, what am I doing? How is this going to help me? It was so tough. I mean, I believe in numbers. You have to add your dollars. You have to subtract, but algebra, calculus, how is this going to help me? And I was wondering, and our teacher had always a square suit. He never smiled. And he didn't have any lips even. He had no lips. It was just cut here, just like a slit. And then his eyes were like that too. Kind of squarish like this. I mean to say like a slit. And he never smiled, and his face was fairly square. And I was wondering, how am I supposed to eke out some life from this, And then on top of that, he spoke in monotone. Now, how are you supposed to grab the attention of a teenager, 18, whatever years old, and try to get their attention? It just wasn't working out. Anyways, what does work out is, some training in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Prabhupada has given us some stipulations, and it's all to awaken our real love. The real love is with God, and the fake love is with anything outside of God. But we can appreciate nature. We can love the world around us, and then say, Krishna, you did a wonderful job. You're a great artist. The attitude of gratitude should kick in. And then, I'm not saying we shouldn't love. Some people will claim that spiritualists are kind of dull, they're drab, they're stale, they're dry, they don't have any fun. Well, you come to one of our Sunday feasts and you see do we really have fun or not? Try our food, try the lasagna, the sandwiches. Are we having fun or what?
Yeah.
We are definitely having a good time. We've got the best music, the philosophy's quite deep and rich, What more do you want, And everyone's pretty nice and clean looking, like everyone takes a bath. You can get close to them, so everything's quite nice about the culture, honestly. Okay, we do have some hands up, or we'll start with you.
So Maharaj, we are living in a very...
Don't forget, in Halifax, if you got a question, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So Maharaj, we are, this specific to this verse, we are living in a very distracted world right now. Especially for all of us, I can say we have these devices with us, and even if we want to go on YouTube and want to watch a lecture, we can be seeing something we shouldn't be seeing. And there are YouTube shorts nowadays. There's TikTok, which I know some of it may get banned or not get banned. You don't know. I hope it get banned, but my point is, there's more of that than less of Krishna consciousness. And no matter how you compare, yes, I mean, even if someone is chanting 16 rounds, reading Bhagavatam, doing all the things, but still, they would get more exposure to what's out there. Whereas compared to someone who's not doing any of that, maybe chanting 1 or 2 rounds, and maybe just in a school, for them it's more exposure to what they shouldn't be exposed to. So the whole idea of lust comes the moment we get into these impressions in our mind after watching some of those things. And there's a lot out there right now. So what recommendation you have, what tips you have, Maharaj, for us, especially who are exposed to, I mean, we are all exposed to internet right now. What can we do in that situation?
We just have to remind ourselves, I'm a fighter, okay? And if you succumb to all this, this exposure, it just means you're not fighting anymore. Don't lower your guard. Keep your weapons up and keep them sharp. Keep them sharp, keep them shining. And the thing that really combats these tendencies, the internet influence, spend less time with the screen and more time with devotees who are enthusiastic to fight, to pick up the arms. We must call for attention against Maya, and for that you need encouragement. I don't think anybody can fight a war by themselves. It's only on the strength of troopers being around you that they enthuse you. This is the same principle of, let's say we start a business company and people get together in the corporate world. They have lots of meetings. Anybody in the corporate world? You have meetings all the time? Oh my God, yeah. And but the meetings are set up to enthuse each other in the purpose of, making profit. And of course, usually the best way to get a profit is that you have to offer good service. Service is the key word. So as a service, spend a little less time on this, more time with people. Are people more important than this? Yeah. I know it looks like a chocolate bar. People are more important, or is this more important than people?
People.
People are more important. Yeah, so I think that's one way to answer that, is just Sangha, good association. Plan your day so you're not always just a slave to this. Yeah. Okay, this is definitely the new cigarette or the new whatever drink. Yes, and Prabhu, yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. My question is similar, but for those of us who didn't spend so much time in a bhakta program, like getting the training and the discipline that came with that, brahmacharya, whatnot, and kind of like got thrown in or jumped in the deep end and kind of figured out how to swim, but are still, wrestling with those distractions of Maya. How do we motivate to come up out of that comfort and or discomfort zone of making it all about us and come out into more discipline and dedication of devotion? Kind of as we hear that Gyan and Vairagya are the two, facilitators of bhakti. So how to become more desiring, anxious to acquire those to facilitate.
I think those kind of questions are really pertinent, and the answer is quite simple again. Mahaprabhu is always hitting at the same point, say Sangha. Just have to go for the best company you could possibly find. And maybe if that person's not there, sometimes just using the phone is okay. Just using the phone, or just making a visit. Hop on your bicycle, go to the person's house, offer the little gift, and devotional Vaishnava exchanges. Those little gestures make a big, big difference. Just go and get some air. But one thing is, a lot of ways to cure yourself of this habit to be here. The air is better than this. The sky is better than this. Looking at the clouds is better. Yes, okay. Yeah, so just getting in contact with the elements is a far better, option than just, again, succumbing to these lower tendencies. Sangha. Just get as much of it as you possibly can. And that comes in different shapes and forms. Just reading the books is one way to do it. And it's learning bhakti doesn't always have to be in a dry classroom kind of setting. It can be fun, really it can be. And I found that just going for a forest bath, just walking through the trees, is so uplifting. And it's not just that water does it for you. It's walking through the trees, picking up on these smells, seeing the dynamics that are going on all around you. It's like a breath of fresh air for sure. That's what we're looking for, wholesomeness, isn't it? And realization, something that triggers the beautiful things in the mind. And sometimes it means just to get away from people for a little bit. People can be a pain in the where side. You thought I was going to say something else. Okay. Yes, Prabhu over there.
Yes, we have a question from online.
Online, we have a question.
Prabhu says, well, actually, maybe you can read it.
You can read.
When we have the agitation, how to control it and how to change it into love. So we just stick to that? Okay. So we'll go to the first one, okay? Thank you. Rohan, yeah. Oh, when there's agitation, how to control it, how to change it into love. Well, so when people ask these kind of questions, I like to answer it kind of practically. One thing that I encourage people to do, okay, if you're agitated, okay, stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, go outside, open the door, look in the sky. It's pure, it's white. Do that. Chant Hare Krishna, okay? You want to take a few more steps? Go to a tree, hug it. Now maybe it sounds mushy, but it's not. Mahaprabhu did those things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they did them. Hug the tree. Or if you feel super agitated, pick up a drum, the nearest drum, and start beating it and chant Hare Krishna. And bring your next door neighbor's super soul and intelligence to come over and, what do people do? They go into a basement and they play some music and jam. They jam, right? So I'm just talking about practical things. I can say to you, just pick up your beads and chant Hare Krishna. It is a solution. But what else? Okay? Do those things help? Those of you who are in Halifax, if it's you got lots of snow there right now, I imagine. No? Okay, then that doesn't apply. Thank you. Based on what I was going to say. We had another question there?
Yes, Samita asks.
Samita is asking. Hare Krishna Maharaj, wondering if intelligence is like gut feeling and conscience. Yes, it is. Yep, it can be, for sure. Intuition. Super soul is how Prabhupada would always answer it. Super soul's behind the highest intelligence level. Yes. So gut feeling, yeah, it's okay. Oftentimes gut feeling comes from, references from the past. I don't feel good about what's coming at me because this is familiar to me. I've been haunted by this kind of thing before. So I have a sense, a perception that this is not going to be good for me to confront it. Yeah, so, I don't always just rely on impulsive, reactions to the senses. Take your time. The best way to react to most things, do it the mode of goodness way. Take a deep breath, process it, and before you say or do anything, just take that breath. Take a little time. It doesn't mean that you have to react to everything immediately as it comes at you. It just doesn't mean you have to be rajas, that's mode of passion, or in tamas, do nothing at all. But rather take the time that it takes. Give yourself the room and the space to process what's coming at you. And then you'll have a better chance to respond better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. We do have another question there, or should we?
Couple more.
Couple, let's, okay.
Yeah.
Well, just to be fair, we'll go to Florida, then we'll go to Halifax after that. Okay.
So with time, sometimes like for example, I'm walking down the street and I see this woman. Oh, she's pretty. Is that also lust?
Well, my comment would be, thank you for being normal. And it's natural. And I don't think it's anything to be too worried about. As if you look a second time, or if you look too hard on that second time or a third time. But the initial response could be something like this. Here's a beautiful creature. It's a creature of God. Seriously. Krishna made someone beautiful, photogenic, you know. And that can hold true for like a beautiful tree or a nice little, it's like a cascading water rippling over the rocks and making that nice sound, It's an acknowledgement that Krishna's the great artist. So I wouldn't get too worried about it. I just get worried if you start to whistle and, hey! Maybe this doesn't mean you shouldn't pursue. It just means that, every time there's a little something on your trail or on your path, it doesn't mean you have to get super excited, okay? Don't take it to another level. Krishna explains, Jayato Vishayam Pumsam Sangas Te Shubhajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodha Vijayate. And there's another shloka. So Krishna is just saying, you look at something, it's appealing. Oh, and then you look at it a little longer than maybe you need to. Then you develop an attachment. From attachment is lust. From lust, that breeds anger. From anger, start to lose it. You start to say things that you shouldn't be saying and thinking. And you get angry, and when there's anger, the intelligence shuts down. So better not to dwell too long on the certain things that really have no connection to you. And especially if you're already committed to someone, stop looking the other way. Stop looking. Don't get enticed. Krishna already set you up. Don't be satisfied with what you have. Okay? Anything else? Oh, we have something in the back here. We'll get you next Halifax.
That's the owner of the house.
Kirtan, right?
How to control the sweets.
How to control
Tempted with the eating sweets.
Sweets?
Sweets? Huh?
How do you control eating sweets? I think it's a good thing to be informed that it's more addictive than, especially white sugar, more addictive than cocaine. It's the worst food, according to nutritionists, it's the worst food on the planet. Yeah, sugar, especially white sugar. If you want jaggery, just a little bit, like you did in the cup. And, I think you just have to convince yourself this is not good for me. When I was in the first walk across Canada, I was in around the Halifax area, and people were hosting us, especially from the Hindu community, and they were cooking for us, and they wanted to be nice to satisfy the Swami. Here, take some sweet, and they said no, and I'm not taking any sweets. I took enough from the banana, whatever, and sometimes people get lovingly pushing in a way. And I say, no, I can't take any more sweets, it's not good for me. And then if they push it a little bit more and put the pressure on, said, I'm not going to take any more sweets. My mother was a diabetic. She ate too many sweets. She died from it. And it's hereditary. And then they kind of back off. if they get a little, lovingly pushy about it. Okay, so just read up on some of the stuff about how bad sugar is for you. That should convince you. Do you have a family, don't you? You have a family?
Yeah.
Aren't you there to remind you? Yes. Okay. Can you remind your mom?
He's the one who eats more sweets.
He's the Yes.
That's why he's so sweet.
Then now instead of passing sweets, pass wisdom. There's a sweetness in the wisdom. Okay?
He's a sweet boy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just want to eat them up. All right. Anybody else? In Halifax? Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is, it looks more like a book. We have never experienced unconditional love, only little motherly love. How could we find out that we are on the right path of Krishna love, or are we getting there little by little on the path of love? Little by little usually is a good sign. Shanai Shanai. Krishna uses it more than once in the Gita. Little by little, spoon feed yourself this bhakti, and that's slow and steady wins the race. Back to Godhead. That is approaching everything in the mode of goodness again. Passion means what? Wheelbarrows of stuff, sugar, for instance. Incrementally, little by little, you start to get it. It grows on you. It grows on you. Please don't be convinced that you are Hanuman and you just make one leap over the ocean. Do it the Ram style. Just, one rock to the next, and to the next. That's really baby step your way through in bhakti. Really, that's the best approach. Remember to act in goodness. Sattva-gun, not rajagun, tamagun. In practically everything you do. That's just a simple answer. Is that okay?
I'm seeing yes.
Okay.
They're nodding.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, sometimes we already know that the activity we're doing is sinful or lustful, but how to control that temptation? Well, I think we touched on it already. Be in good company, be in good association, and be around with the people that remind you of, what we should be doing. Be with smart people. People who are devotionally inclined. Pick and choose your association, your company. Makes all the difference. Yes, Prabhu?
I don't recall where I
Don't point at the speaker, please.
in one of the lectures of some Prabhuji back in India, he's telling me when we go back to Goroka, the Vishnu Dutas, they take us up and up, from planet to a higher planet to a higher planet, and I just wherever your eye gets stuck at, you have to take birth over there. So what if I just look at some Apsara and get stuck?
You're really stuck on this one principle. Well, therefore you take to the practice of bhakti, it becomes very habit forming. And it just sets you in the right pacing. You start in the morning with some good sadhana practices, and then it should be set a tone for the rest of the day. Yeah, that's right. And if something pops up and is considered to be like a hiccup, then you just don't take it too seriously. We take things too seriously that we need to really just more or less ignore. That's all. Learn the art of how to move around. It's like, doing a waltz. Have you ever done waltzes? I can see you in the waltz as well. And you're with somebody and you're dancing in such a way that you don't step on anybody else's toes. Your elbow's not sticking out as if to jab somebody. It's knowing how to move around in this world without, let's say, being a menace of any sort. Just know how to free flow your way through this world. Okay? Yeah. Good. Anything else then? Ambarish, are we doing okay?
2 thumbs up.
Okay, great. Anybody else has anything else they wish to contribute? Because we can certainly do a little more kirtan for those who wish to stay. Yeah.
Can I use the mic just for the online people?
Sure. So we've talked about like sweets and opposite sex and these little more like tangible things of lust, but how do we come to know more about the ways that we want admiration and that kind of lust? Attention, yeah.
Attention, yeah, okay. Well,
how do we catch ourselves?
How do you catch yourselves doing that? I would just say I work with young people. Young people like to show off a little bit because they've got something to show off, right? But if you actually, if your subject matter is more to do with, you know, something wholesome, I don't see that it's a big problem, you know, just you're channeling or dovetailing. And that's okay, that's okay. You can't have the help if somebody's photogenic or they sing nice or they dance nice. There's not much you can do about it. But if they're doing it for the pleasure of God, then how can you knock it? You know, so I just keep that in mind. You know, what else can we say on the matter? We definitely have to present something, and when we present something, it should be for the upliftment of humankind, right? And it should be done really well. You know, we should do something with finesse. But the intent is what's important. The intent. Because I remember the days in the early days, in the mid-70s, some of the kirtans were doing really well, kirtaniya people, you know, and there was, you know, between the men and the women, the young, there was definitely something going on a little bit there, you know. The size of the bicep, the size of the tilak mark, you know, how tight are the clothes, all those kind of things there went. It's kind of natural, you know. You need to downplay that a little bit, you know, and concentrate a little more. Remind each other, well, it's Krishna I'm trying to please. Just remember who you're trying to make happy. And since we are part and parcel of Krishna, then we will be happy. So that's all we have to do. So do something to please the Supreme Lord. Samsiddhir Hari Toshanam. Please Hari. That should be the mode of the drive.
Right.
Okay, is that okay then, Prabhus?
Yes.
We're going to continue with some more kirtan if you wish. 15 minutes. Is that okay? All right. Great. And those of you who want to stay on Ambarish, I'll leave it up to you, okay? If somebody's up there, they have homework to do or something like that, you can stay on. All right? Music makers. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Oh, let's just offer our obeisances before we go on with the kirtan. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanang bhavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai.
Jai.